Let's go. Up you beautiful lot. My name's Jason. This is my 80's podcast. You put the boom boom into my heart. Right. Happy New Year. Everyone had a great Christmas and an even better New Year. And I'm back after a few weeks off with some great podcasts. So the first one I'm going to do is I did it just before Christmas with the amazing Lian and Kazzie. So I did two parts. So I did the Christmas special and I did another one. I thought I would start off with that one. So this is me, Lee, and Kazzie talking about growing up in the 80s. And as I keep telling them, I was a little bit younger than them in the 80s, but it was just absolutely brilliant. And I did overshare. I was talking about being drunk in the 80s, what I did when I was drunk, lying to my mum about about things, and to my dad about drinking homemade beer and cider in the 80s and all that sort of stuff. So please take a look and a listen to these amazing pair. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm so glad you're back. And I'm raring to go. Have a good day, you beautiful lot.
To get albums, you know, like
Oh yeah,
annuals.
Yeah.
I've still got them all now. Yeah,
Smash
got me
it.
Pink, got Jackie, Photo Love. What's the other one? My Guy. I've still got them all.
They'd be worth. I mean, it's like things like it's like Smash Hits, isn't it? I mean, I have to be honest. I've got one over there. I bought a Smash It off the internet, and it was only like, I mean, how much were they? Like 90p when we used to get them. I paid £5.50 for it, and it's an 80s one. So it's a proper 80s one. So I think that's probably why they were up. But when you think 90p from like.
And they used to have those books as well, didn't they? I don't know if they were called Smash Hits, were they? With all the verses of all the songs. Do you remember that?
With all the lyrics in, didn't they?
With all the lyrics in.
But didn't Thingy used to have that, didn't it? Was it Looking? You used to have it on the back as well. And
look! Oh my God, that's going back looking.
But Looking went back from the 70s.
I was going to say, how old are you, Jay?
But it was from the 70s, and I remember it went through to the 90s. I think the Looking did, but but I think things like Smash It and Number One as well. I used to have.
I don't remember that.
Do you not? Number One was, to be honest, Number One was based a bit like on Smash It. It was it was probably the same company.
Yeah, I think by then I've moved on to more sophisticated stuff.
Yeah.
You weren't reading the local wallpaper branch when you're home. That's a lovely wallpaper. Oh, that's nice.
No, it's probably the Professionals official fan club newsletter.
The Professionals.
Ooh, did you like the Professionals?
Oh,
which one did you like?
Oh, you don't need to ask her that. It wasn't the curly haired one, it was the dark haired one.
It's Doyle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do
you know what I always remember years ago? Remember Dempsey and Makepeace?
Who?
Dempsey and Makepeace.
Yes.
I love Dempsey and Makepeace. I always wanted to be Makepeace.
I can remember years ago, Lee, my dad used to work for so he used to work away Monday to Friday, and he was obsessed with her from Dempsey and Makepeace. And he was coming back, and his mates were coming back in the van, and his car broke down, and it was literally her. The actress had broke down in the car, and my dad and his mates were, and I said, he told his mates, because it was true, and I said, you must have been falling all over yourself to go and get. So he said, literally, she broke down. He said, I've never seen four men fight to get out of the car. He said she was absolutely lovely, and it was. I mean, there's nothing they could do because none of them really knew what to do with the cars, but because they'd just seen this lady. Because that sounds really stereotypical, doesn't it? A pretty lady. And do you know another thing I was going to talk to you about? And I have to talk about. We're going to talk about some hot men in the 80s, and we have to talk about Magnum.
Magnum.
PI. And I know it was a bit earlier, but it came into it. It was, for me, it was, the two blokes from Chips.
Oh yes,
Poncherello.
Poncherello. Handsome.
I'm sorry, but I like my Starsky and Hutch.
Oh,
Starsky.
Oh, I did like Starsky. That was definitely 70s, but that was 80s
I know
as well.
it was going into the 80s.
But it did come into the 80s. Oh, yeah. I always do that every time I jump in my car and Steve pulls off really quick. I went, are we doing Starsky and Hutch today? But there were some good looking men out there, weren't there, in the 80s?
Yeah.
Magnum, Starsky and Hutch, Chips. I do like Chips. But then I used to like
Man from Atlantis, Patrick Duffy.
Oh, my goodness.
That was the 70s, but that was 79, but it was just coming into the 80s.
Just coming,
Man from Atlantis, Patrick Duffy. But then that's a bit like Dallas, isn't it, in Dynasty? Because it's like people say, were you a Dallas or a Dynasty? And I have to be honest, I was probably, as a gay man, it was Dynasty because Joan Collins was just like an icon because she was...
Yeah.
Gay men love women like that, don't they? They love that strong woman. But then I understand Dallas. I mean, now I always remember watching Dallas, not as much as I did Dynasty, but when that Who Shot JR thing came out, it's like, this is a TV show. It's not real.
Malcolm and Wise.
Not Chubby Brown. I can't talk about Chubby Brown. I always remember watching. My favourite is Kenny Everett.
Oh.
In the most possible taste.
In the best possible.
Kenny Everett, we love you. And I remember watching, and I was like, oh God, I was only like 12, crying, literally crying, laughing. And
how did he get away with it, though?
Oh, how? And all I remember is her doing in the best possible taste in a Christmas Santa outfit on.
Yeah.
And she was oozing out of the top. It was like, but you know what makes me laugh? I used to laugh at the names, but I don't think I actually grasped what the names meant. It's like, I mean, Peter Stunt. I just laughed because all I kept thinking was that can't be a real name. Not the fact that why he did it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you probably don't think of that, do you? And I just kept thinking, well, that's a silly name. But he used to get away with it. I just think some of they got away with it was a bit politically incorrect as well, wasn't it? I just think, and as much as I get some of the stuff shouldn't be said, I just think we've become very snowflakey.
Very much so.
Now, haven't we? Because I do think that, and it's when people are saying, "Oh, that should be took off," and it's like, no, that's history. That's part of
exactly. Why change
culture.
History? Don't change history.
You can't. It's wrong. We've learnt by it, and I get that.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
What it should be, but you can't change.
No.
And it's like when people say when I say, oh well, I like Kenny Everett or I like somebody, and they say, I get it. You wouldn't get away with it now, and you shouldn't get away with it now. But at the time, it was funny, it was great, and we absolutely pissed ourselves watching it. It was just so.
I mean,
or I remember my sister having tiny tears growing up as a kid. That was another doll that and and they'd give them the drink, and it just.
And straight away, weed.
And my mum goes, "Why is that? Did you squeeze the stomach or something?"
I did not like dolls.
Did you not?
Did you not? You didn't have Pippa or Cindy or
I had
Barbie.
I had Cindy, but I only had Cindy because I got the horse.
Oh, you got the horse.
Horses and stuff. But dolls in general.
Action men for me.
I was going to say, I bet Jay had an action man.
Say no more.
No more.
That poor action man had his clothes off more than they were on.
What's that then?
Action man. Oh.
Action man.
Why?
Because I don't know why, because there was nothing there, to be fair. I mean, nowadays, if they make them, you'd probably see it. But it was like, because they used to have amazing bodies, didn't they, the action men?
Yeah.
It was all rippled. God, I sound like a pervert. Talking about action men.
We're not saying nothing.
It's good. But as a kid growing up, that was, and I always remember, because I used to play that, but I used to love marbles as a kid. So I used to have you used to get all them different coloured marbles, didn't you?
Yeah.
Tiny. All I keep thinking is Tiny Tears, and what was the other one I used to have? Remember Buckaroo?
Remember that?
Kaplunk.
Operation.
I used to love Kaplunk.
I've still got that.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think someone bought it for me for Christmas.
So you can get it now, but it's just not the same because it doesn't look anything like it. It's like the operation looks nothing like the original one. And I've been trying to look on the internet from. It was hinting for Christmas for operation.
And Monopoly's not the same.
Yeah, no, none of them are. And you can get like a Christmas edition. I mean, there is I'm sure someone said they were doing a 80's Monopoly edition. I don't know whether it's out. I'll have to have a look, but I think I'll wait till the sales.
Yeah.
But yeah, things like, but Booker used to, and do you know what I always wanted? Mousetrap.
I had
Lee,
brilliant.
my mum wouldn't let. Do you know why she wouldn't let me have it? Because she'd say I'd get bored instantly.
No.
She said, by the time you've built it and you've put that ball round, it goes round, it jumps up and catches that bloke. What more does it do? And talking about Jason being bitter.
No.
Mr. Froster. That woman.
Oh.
She's got a lot to live. She's got a lot to look. Thinking that I always remember wanting a Mr. Frosty as a kid, and because it used to have all them like different colours in it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she wouldn't let me out because she knew I was a little bit spinner, a bit manic. So she knew that if I had them different colours in it, she can't be even worse. But I always remember later in life, getting one. It was great though when I got older because I used to always put vodka in it with. My friend used to do it because obviously in the end of the 80s I was like 18, 19, and for my 18th birthday, before we all went out and before I stripped and took on my clothes off, as I said in the other podcast, she used to make there's vodka stuff in the Mr. Froster. So she'd icicle. Or if she didn't do that, she used to get the remember them? Or what were they called? Them spaceship. They're called spaceship lollipops. It used to be out in the 80s. The lollies, the cold ones.
Oh yeah,
spaceships.
You can still get those.
You can still get the rockets, weren't they? Space rockets.
Yeah, and they used to put them in it, and that was so nice, you know.
I remember being really disappointed with Mr. Frosty because Slash Puppies came out in the 80s, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
And I was obsessed with Slush Puppies. Yeah. And my friend, I mean, we're talking, I was like in my 20s. My friend had a Mr. Frosty, and I tried it, and I was like, no.
It wasn't, but it's a bit like the Soda Stream, wasn't it? It's like when they came out.
Soda
Stream.
But you know
what I mean?
Yeah. And you had that big massive, you had to get a gas bottle at the back of it, didn't you?
Yeah, the gas cartridges that you put in it.
But I always remember with this, like I said, with the slush puppies and they did, and I used to love them because the slush puppies were lovely, weren't they? They were like everybody. I forgot they was out that early because I remember going to. I shouldn't talk about this. I remember going somewhere and the slush puppies would come out, and I remember, and at Christmas time, I remember tasting. I can't describe what it's supposed to. It's supposed to have tasted like Christmas. It tasted like Christmas if you'd licked the whole of a real tree up and down on a Christmas tree. That's what it tasted like.
Oh,
and I don't know how they made it. It was in like with the ice, and they were selling it in Christmas. To be honest, I don't care what they said. There's no way that was a Christmas, because the only thing that Christmas was the cup. The cup.
Slush puppy flavours don't lend themselves to Christmas, do they?
No, they don't.
I mean, sorry, I remember being banned from having slush puppies at work.
This
was in the 80s.
Oh, was it?
Because I was sort of front-facing customers. And obviously, it's not good when you've got a blue mouth.
You do, and you have the red and all out. Do you know what? One of the worst things I used to hate was because I used to eat them. Really, was when you used to get them ice headaches, whatever they're called. Them
brain freeze.
Brain freeze.
Oh my god, that felt like your brain was going to pop out.
It was like,
But you know, you used to make me laugh with it when you was a kid. You'd go like that, and you get the pain. You go like that, you're pain in your head, and as soon as it went, you'd still eat it more.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, do you know what? That doesn't change though.
No, it doesn't actually.
No,
it doesn't.
At all.
The other day I did a cappuccino cold drink, and it was from my fridge, and I was drinking it.
Quick.
Oh, I'm getting brain freeze.
Yeah. I always remember getting the brain for it, and I used to think to myself, why am I carrying on drinking it?
Do you know what? Literally, it was going through my head. Okay, so if I just do this, it's going to go, and then I can have some more. Which was like, yeah.
Ice pops, we still get them now.
Yes,
but yeah, ice pops were really in, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? They were a real treat, weren't they?
Yeah.
Absolutely. They used to be. So what I'm going to talk about now, because I'm going to talk about New Year. What was New Year like in the 80s? Because I have to be honest, I only ever did it in the end of back when I was 16, 17. So that'd been like 86, 87, 88.
Oh my God.
But I never used to go out in New Year. We used to have parties around people's houses. So what was your New Year like in the 80s? Because I have to be honest, I know it wasn't. I'm thinking disco. I want to go on one of those original 80s dance floors. You know, the flashing lights. All the different colours.
Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, because I just absolutely love that, and just to let you know, and I am buying. So this floor's going to be like that when I finish next year, because I'm going to buy those. You know them like cushion colour things that you can get.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to take the carpet up, and the whole of this floor is going to be like
children get
flashing dance floor.
Yeah, I just think the colour. I can't. Yeah, I don't think you can get it flashy. But I always think, like you lot, when you were growing up when you were going out in the 80s, New Year, because I mean, I didn't really go out. I mean, I went out with friends, but I didn't. It went until the end of the 80s that I used to go out clubbing and that. But I always wanted to go out, because I always think now, do you know, like, as much as I love the whole of the 80s, the early 80s for me was just used to blow my mind. Some of the music and stuff, especially New Year time, because friends used to go. I used to know friends and people that are a little bit older than me that used to go out, and when I was like 12 or 13, and they'd be like 60, and they used to tell me how great. And I just think, and it's like when I watch some of these videos of all the punks and all the Mohicans. But what was it like for you? Did you go out of the 80s?
I did. Used to go to local pubs, because in those days there used to be discos. Used to be a DJ on the decks, records, flashing lights, things around the ceiling.
Oh, perfect. This is what it misses, doesn't it? And this is what I know it went to. Yeah, I mean, they did go into a bit later, but for me, especially when I was like 15, 16, so like in 85, 86, and they had records, didn't they? The DJ used to have like all the lights, and it'd be flicking through the albums to put the record on.
Yeah, because my brother was a DJ as well, so he was doing all the He's still got all these records now.
I mean, I understand it's different now and it's easier now, isn't it? I think DJing's probably not DJing nowadays.
No, well, they're not, are they? They're just
on
the screen, just press that, play.
And I could quite happily do that. But so
disco on the mic as well, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring back that day. I'd say bring that back. Bring the DJs properly back in the pubs.
Kaz, get your teeth in.
I know.
So what about you, Lee? Did you go out? Because you'd have probably been a little bit, like you said, a little bit older. But the 80s, I wanted that dance floor. That's what
I think sort of late 80s was when I discovered alcohol. Really.
And that's it, isn't it? Oh, so you were a little bit older then before you. Did you not drink when you were younger?
No.
Oh, she's a good girl.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Did you?
Sure, you had your baby sham.
Yeah.
Oh, baby sham. That was just. Do you know what? My nan used to give me sherry and lemonade every Sunday.
Oh, did she now?
From the age of about 8.
Naughty.
What a woman.
Lemonade.
Do you know, we were talking about this at work the other day. Do you know, we were talking about alcohol drinks. And all I remember is when I was about, oh God, it might have been a bit, it was like, I'm sure it was the end of the 80s. I know they had it in the 80s, but it was a bit, it was the beginning, in the middle and the end, or whatever. It's like things like snake bites.
Yeah.
Oh my! But I used to have it with like, is it like diamond white?
Diamond white.
White.
To be honest, I'm not sure whether that's 90s.
White diamond,
sure, yeah. I'm sure it was out in the 80s, and you used to put it with like
the big litre bottles.
Yeah. And you'd have it in the pub like that, and you just drink that. You just think you'd have one of them and just think, why is my guts hurting? Because it used to be so strong.
Yeah.
But loads of people in the 80s used to drink Baby Sham, didn't they?
Yeah.
I have to be honest, I didn't realise that were alcohol until a bit later on.
I mean, I love Baby Sham, but the bottles were so small.
They were tiny.
Yeah.
Tiny. They was really tiny though, weren't they? They were small.
Yeah, but you had the little glasses, so a little one would fill that. So
Baby
I've
Sham.
still got mine, my mum's.
Have you?
Yeah, in the cupboard.
See if what happens to you, Kazzie, please put that in your will for me to take.
Yeah.
Put that in your record. Nothing will happen to you.
Charming.
No, look, good go, young. You're going to be like me till we're 107. Yeah, Kazzie's going to be here till 108.
It's nice, isn't it, everybody?
But that was another thing, and I remember talking about drinking things and alcohol, and I always remember my right in '89 was when my dad remarried, and I always remember. So how would I have been? 18, about 18, 19. And I always remember obviously going to the wedding, and it was 80s or 89, I'm sure it was. And that was when Ride on Time come out by Black Box. And as much as people think it's a 90s song, it is an 80s. It's 89, but I think
it's 89.
Because it went into the 90s, it probably sounds a little bit more. And I always remember being absolutely paralytic at my dad's wedding. And you know, to the point where and because obviously you got everything was tight. You wore everything was tight, didn't you? I mean, I used to wear tight trousers, the suits were really tight. And I can remember having this panic because I couldn't get my belt off. And it was only because I just couldn't see what I was doing more than anything else. But have you ever so when you were growing up in the 80s, and what was one of the worst drunk experiences that it doesn't have to be at Christmas, because this is going to be a separate episode now.
Okay, so my worst experience was about 87. Went with work to a pub, probably one of the first times I've ever been with work to a pub. I was drinking Rusty Nail, which is whiskey and Drambuie.
Can't drink stuff like
I'd had about 4. And I remember going to the toilet because my then boyfriend came and didn't know anyone, went to the toilet, and apparently everyone just kept coming in saying, "Are you all right, Lian?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was on the floor.
Do you know what? There is absolutely nothing worse than throwing your gut. I don't care what anyone.
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, you weren't sick?
No. I'm too mean to be sick.
I love alcoholics. I absolutely love alcoholics because they don't be sick.
I just remember the floor being nice and cool, and
they are.
Men were coming in, opening the ladies. Lian, you all right? Yeah, fine.
You could have been touched up and never know.
Well, I found out that while I was doing all that, my ex, was getting the ring and organising our engagement party that I didn't know about.
Oh, that was nice.
No!
As you're throwing your guts. But the thing is, you know, when you're being sick, the floor's lovely. I mean, I used to there's many a toilet I've laid on to be sick, everybody. Because I just when I was young, when I was really young, and I like 50, but hangover. It's really bizarre because I've gone from throwing my gut to now I don't get hangovers, but that's because I think it's because I stay on the same thing, because I'm a greedy drinker. So because I don't drink that often, but when I go out, I mix. I never stay on the same thing. It's like, and then people go on, oh, when you're about 18, 19, oh, should we have these, like, what is it, the salty thing, whatever it's called, and
I don't get sick and I don't get hangovers.
Oh, I do.
I actually, after that night, I went to work the next day.
We used to do that
at 9 o'clock.
Honestly.
And I walked in and the guy's like, how?
Oh,
What?
I used to be like, I used to do that. I used to get in at 5 o'clock in the morning and then go to work when I was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything worse now. I'd be hanging out my arse. If that was me, there's no way on earth I could do that. But in the 80s, what about like Kazzie? What was the worst thing in the 80s when you were?
I can't remember.
You're alcoholic, that is, speaking there. Well, I remember one of the worst things I ever did was when this is when the babysitter was there as well. So everyone that watched my podcast before that, speaking about the babysitter, I can remember. So a couple of doors where the bloke used to be a DJ, like he used to have all the decks. He used to have all these barbecues around the house in the 80s. And I think I was about 14. She took advantage of it, didn't she? I must have been 14, and I'd got she'd been feeding me this drink, this babysitter. She'd been feeding me this drink, and I remember getting really, really drunk. And you know, to the point where you're swaying, and I couldn't get my belt off me jeans. And my mum's going, absolutely, who's been feed? Because it was just, first time I was absolutely paralytic. And all I remember is waking up in my own vomit.
Oh, no.
And I thought, how have I not? Because I laid on my stomach and slept on my stomach. They knew I wouldn't ever. But do you know, you wake up and do you know the next day, even though I wasn't hungover, the smell.
Yeah.
Oh,
still
my
there,
God.
Isn't
it? I don't mind. That's all I kept, honestly. But that was and I always remember, but that was like mixing everything. That was like drinking. And do you know the worst thing as well? Because the bloke that used to do the DJ used to make his own, like, I think it was mulberry wine. Is it mulberry wine? I can't remember. Why is that saying Leah's recording stopped?
I don't, cool.
That's all right, Doc. And I remember having, and he used to make his own wine, but we used to drink it at his barbecues before it had even fermented. I mean, that's not right, is it?
No.
So you'd literally, even sometimes, I mean, his wife was a bit of a pisshead as well. She was lovely, but so you used to have like, you know, the big wine jugs with all, and it used to be all clouder, and they'd be sucking it through this plastic straw, putting it into.
Oh no!
Putting it into
Have you?
That's not right.
Have you heard of rum toff?
No, what's that?
So this is like a big jar, and for like months before Christmas, you put fruit in and alcohol, and it beds down, and the alcohol ferments the fruit, and then you have it at Christmas like a fruit salad. So this Christmas,
nice.
My boyfriend's mum and dad were coming to my mum and dad's for Christmas. So I was good, Lian. I was so good. Didn't drink nothing.
Good, Lian.
I had this rum toff. Oh my goodness!
Please don't tell me you throw up over them.
No, I bet she told everybody she did.
But I think I really made a complete tit myself.
Did you overshare?
Oh, it was,
oh dear!
And to be honest, it tasted awful.
Do you know, I remember my dad. We used to have, remember them old airing cupboards they used to have upstairs.
Yeah.
Yes.
My dad used to. I mean, a bit like the bloke next door, but my dad used to have like, it was some sort of cidery. I'm sure it was some sort of cider, but he used to have in this big massive tub, and I'd see him mixing it, and you used to have to leave it in there for 200 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's probably because the thing is, it becomes more. It has to be fermenting, don't it? So
yeah.
I always remember it in there for a week. My dad I remember my dad saying, I can't put some more water in there. I think it's too warm up here because it's like it's
disintegrating.
It wasn't. I was drinking it. I left it for all I kept doing, I kept going in there with a cup and sitting down on my bed like at 14, 15, drinking it. But you know, you have like 2 glasses of that, you felt quite pissed, didn't you?
Brilliant.
When you were quite young. And he's going, oh, it's gone right. I went, oh, I know. Because I'm not going to pour any more water in it. Because make it oh my! Please, if you ever don't let him watch this, I've never told him about that.
Oh no! I bet he finds out now.
It was just like, oh, it's a bit, but then that's a bit like my mum when I was younger. I used to, I can remember once spilling bleach on. She reckoned she didn't. I mentioned it to her. She reckoned she didn't believe me. She did. I remember in her living room, she used to have like a carpet there, so she used, and I'd spilt some bleach on it as a kid. And I kept trying to, do you know, you panic, that panic as you try and wipe it up.
And making it worse.
Look, the carpet had only been down a week.
Oh no.
So I'd left it. She didn't notice it because she'd got things there and it was, and all that. And then it must have been about 8 months later, and she noticed it. And I mentioned, and she was going absolutely mad. And I convinced that woman, I convinced that, God, this makes me sound to be a right lie, doesn't it? As a kid I was. I convinced that woman that the reason that little bit was bleached was the sun was coming in and bleaching the carpet. Oh my God. Do you know what? When I think to myself, Jay, you're 15 years of age and you'll convince your mum. So in the end, she believed. So in the end, she put like a white rug over it. And it weren't until I got older that my so-called husband told her after I told him. I went, oh, she was so funny. She absolutely, when I've seen her now, she went, no, I didn't. No, you did believe me, but convinced her that I was terrible. You know, as a kid, just some of the things, you know, now you just think, why did you need to lie about that? But no. It's because you knew what the consequences were going to be.
Because
yeah. I thought, I'm not being told I can't go out. But you know what I mean? Say, oh God, poor woman. Dad dear. Drinking his drink and carpet. She was brilliant, my mum was. She just didn't. Well, she said she didn't believe me. She did. She damn lied. She did. Yeah, she was funny. And she said, I never believed you. Well, you did, because you put a white carpet rug over it for years.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but yeah, she was. I just think when you're growing up in, especially in the 80s, like that, and it's you know, I mean, to be honest, when I look back now, I just think, oh, I should have just told her the truth. But as a kid, it's a bit different, isn't it? Because and the worst thing about it, your default mode is to lie, isn't it? And they're not bad lies; they're just little white lies. Aren't
the little white lie, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just, and it was instant. It's like I was. Oh God, this is oversharing.
Because you never admit and say, "Oh no, that was me."
And I always remember. Oh God, she won't watch this, but she'll laugh at when I tell you. When I in the 80s, I was about 15, 16, and we used to have so we used to drink full fat milk, didn't we? As kids?
I still do.
Because we never.
Yeah, so do I.
See, I've skimmed, but we don't have that now. So what I used to do is because I love cereal, so I was terrible. I mean, my mum used to hide the cereal from me, especially when I used to go out and I was a bit drunk, because the first thing I'd do was I'd be starving and I'd want to eat some cereal. And when I was about 13, 14, I used to I was fine. I knew it. She'd hide it in the fucking dryer. Do you know what? The washing machine.
Oh, she knew you weren't going to do any washing, and
and you know,
can you imagine?
Honestly, and you know what and then I'd like, so I'd fill the bowl, not thinking, so I'd fill the bowl up with milk, and then I'd water the milk down. So because she'd have full fat milk, so I'd use probably about that much of it.
Oh, so you put? Oh no!
So I fill it up with water, so that it looked like it hadn't been touched. She knew. She said she wasn't 100% sure, but she knew, because she said she was eventually, after about the 4th time, it was like drinking cat piss. She said, I knew that was no way on earth that was full fat milk. Oh, but you know, even now you just think, why do you do that? Because it's obvious that eventually it's going to become waterier.
Oh,
On the subject of milk, that's when you used to have bottles.
Oh
yeah.
I like to see get the cream off the top.
On the top of the silver. And you know, in the winter, you'd want. I tell you what, I used to always want to chase them birds because they'd be tapping on it to get. And you'd end up tapping on the silver, didn't they? The birds did, to get all the cream out of milk. Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think I've still seen somebody. They don't have that many milkmen now, do they? Like they used to years ago. I mean, we used to get our pop off him as well.
Yeah.
Because they used to have like
orange juice in a bottle.
Yeah. And they did. And we used to have pot men, didn't we? We used to always have a bloke come round on a Saturday.
Oh yeah, pot man.
We used to have a bloke come round on the Saturday that would literally, when 18 was on, he'd open his back of his van and he'd pull up outside because we used to live in a cul-de-sac, and open his back up, and there'd be sweets and food and galore. It was like a child's den. And my mum used to come out and they'd like give you £1 or something, and we'd love it because you'd sit there and be able to eat all the crap you liked on a Saturday, watching 18.
Chocolate treats, the blue packet, toffee treats.
Yes. And then when he used to come round on a Friday, I thought he'd come round the odd Friday and I'd sit down and watch the Golden Girls.
Golden Girls.
One of my favourite TV shows. I can remember watching that with my dad, and my dad used to look at me like I'd dropped from space because I'd be crying, laughing. Literally, and you know that way you literally take your breath when you come back laughing, and he'd look at me and he'd find it funny. He'd look at me and go, "Fucking something not right with it." How brilliant was that? Kazzie, Lee, I've only learned to do that. Absolutely brilliant. So, if you want to be a guest on my podcast, please let me know. Instagram, I wasn't say Twitter again, X, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, anywhere you see me, please drop me a message or send me an email on 80sboomboom@gmail.com, and we'll get you on and we'll have some great 80s chat. We're gonna kick it out of the park this time, this year. So definitely, yeah, absolutely. If you want to be a guest, and also my next episode that's coming out after this is a revisit and a react to. Now, I've never watched this because I always thought it'd be over the top for me. I loved Aeroplane, but it's the Naked Gun. So someone sent me loads of different clips to Naked Gun, and I have to be honest, I was howling a little bit. It was better than what I thought it was going to be. So that'll be my next episode after this one's gone out. So yeah, please share, follow, subscribe, click that button. Everything about 80s. If you love it and you want it, let me know. And have a great day, you beautiful lot.